People who visit Palestine, people who visit Gaza, they are touched for life. It changes them. It's a pivotal moment. When they see the injustice of what is happening there, when they see the suffering of the people, the innocent people, and more than that, when they see the courage and the resolve of those people, it affects them for the rest of their life. Our next speaker is someone who went to Gaza many years ago, and it had exactly that effect on her. And she's now become a tireless and relentless campaigner on behalf of the people of Gaza. So please, we're going to be speaking to and have a nice warm round of applause for our sister Lauren Boone.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I wasn't actually here to talk today, it was my day off, and so on my day off I choose to come and hear lectures about Palestine. My daughter sat there and said, "Mom, we know this already." But you know, it's true. When you go to Palestine, you are touched for life. There's something that we call, I spoke to Harry Fear just a minute ago, who many of you will know as a brave reporter who spent time in Gaza during the most recent attack by Israel. And it's called Gaza-itis. So the first thing I said to Harry was, "You want to go back, don't you?" He said, "Oh yes, so much." And when you're outside, you can't understand, why would you want to go to a place where bombs are falling? Why would you want to go to a place where you have to drink water that tastes like soil with salt in it? Why would you go to a place where you have to cross checkpoints and you might be shot at? Because Allah has put something special in the ground of Palestine for all people. As I said, I wasn't here to talk today, but it's an honour that they've given me 10 minutes, alhamdulillah. So I've scribbled down some notes. The first is 1948. In the last 2 years, I've had the honour of beginning a project which seeks to interview survivors of 1948. It strikes me, travelling around the Ummah today, now as your sister in Islam, that we don't know our history. Forget even the Salahuddin long ago. We may know a bit about Salahuddin, too many of us don't even know that, but we don't know the names of our modern dead. If you speak about the Holocaust in a synagogue, everybody will have adopted a name and a family, and they will know a family tree, and they know they're dead. The Jewish people know they're dead. If there is a Christian community now and they're practicing their faith, they know they're dead. We don't know our dead. So how can we defend our living? 1948, 750,000 Palestinians were driven from their homes, their land, their lives, their orchards by Jewish terrorism. 465 or thereabouts Palestinian villages erased from the map in a mass ethnic cleansing. They bulldozed these little villages, they bombed these villages, and they're still removing the stones today. Name me one, maybe you'll know Deya Yassin. We should know them all. Should we not be learning by rote the names of these places, and not to build up hate? No. But to keep the memory alive for the people who are still surviving and the generations to come. So for the last 2 years I've been interviewing survivors of 1948, and I met a man from the Hamuda family, from a village called Lida. And in 1948, Zionist terrorists, Jewish gangs armed by Britain, with the most modern weapons of warfare, surrounded a village. And then they took the men, as they did in many of the villages, and they put them into the masjid. And they said, "Just stay there." And then they forced the women and children out in a funnel shape from one exit only in the village. And this old man, 85, 86 years old, his hands trembling, described how his father had been taken from him and he'd been taken into the mosque. And then somehow he'd been allowed to leave. They said, no, you can go. And he said goodbye to his father. And for 48 hours he wandered around. Because you know what they did? They forced him on the Lider Death March. I just want a quick survey here. How many people have heard of the Lider Death March? And I'm not expecting you to know, it's not a judgment, but we do need to express what we do and don't know. The Lider Death March, anything? My daughter, alhamdulillah, and our dear doctor. Know your dead, know your history. Not to be full of hate, but to have this knowledge passed down verbally through the generations. Tens of thousands of Palestinians were forced to walk for 3 days in the heat of the summer to Ramallah from Lider. 350 men, women and children died. At one point during that march, with Jewish terrorists walking next to them, taking the rings and the gold off the women, a little boy fell down a well. They came to a well and the people leapt upon it. And a little boy fell down the well and they pulled him out. Now, as Muslims, you think they must have been concerned about the little boy, but at this point they've been dehumanized by thirst. And the people, when the boy was out, fell on him sucking his clothes. The people fell on him sucking his clothes to get some moisture. These are just one of the tales of terror from 1948. That man, by the way, Mr. Hamouda, who I interviewed, he died a few months later. Time is running out for our memories. So if you have a Palestinian in your family, or you have a friend whose grandparents experienced this, film them. Tell your children. Organize a showing. Don't let these memories be forgotten. I wanted to talk a little bit about Jerusalem. Our brother covered it very nicely. 2 minutes. Ya Allah. Alhamdulillah. Bismillah. I love Interpal. I've seen their work on the ground. I've seen the wells built. I've seen the farms restored. I've seen the generators and I've seen the water wells all across the region, the West Bank and Gaza. But one of my brothers, Brother Ibrahim Hewitt, stood up earlier and he said something which I don't disagree with, but I have a slightly different opinion on. See, that's how we do things in Islam. No, I never criticize someone who knows better than me. I have slightly different. Brother Ibrahim said it's not religious, it's humanitarian. I tell you, brothers and sisters, it is religious. What do I mean by that? There is work today going on to make sure you and your children will never ever pray in Al-Quds. Yes. This is the movement that is going on. Right now there is a movement to erase Islam from Jerusalem altogether. They are digging up the Sahaba's graves, cementing over them. Right now, this week, shopping malls, Jews-only university place residences. Soon, in the next 10 years, there will be no sign that Islam was ever in Palestine. So actually, brother, in my humble opinion, it is religious, as well as all the other things. And I just wanted to share to you something before I go, because before he says 30 seconds. And it's this. People often say, to people like Harry and myself, who are from English backgrounds, why Palestine? Why do you keep going back? I want to tell you how I got my first Qur'an. I was on the streets in Jerusalem, in the old city, in 2006 as a non-Muslim, and I was doing souvenir shopping and I was very grumpy. And a young Palestinian man started walking next to me. I'd never seen him before, and he said, "Marhaba!" And I thought, oh, I haven't got time for marhaba today. And then I thought, you know what, don't disrespect anybody in their homeland. Be respectful. So I said, yeah, marhaba. I said, look, I've got some things I want to buy, and I'm in a hurry. He said, this is great news. All of the men here are my uncles. We shall go into all the shops at once. Now, my list was 2 toy camels for my daughters, a mother-of-pearl photograph of Yasser Arafat, not for me, and a Qur'an in English. Because having visited Palestine twice, I was kind of interested about what all the fuss was about. Because the people seemed kind of nice. and I wanted to know what was in their book. In the next 40 minutes, this brother took me in and out of all the shops in the old city, and 40 minutes later, back outside in the rain, I had 2 bags of everything that I wanted and more. And he turned to me, and I said to him, remember, I'd never seen him before and I'd never see him again. I said, how much do I owe you for these things? And this young man, this stranger, looked at me and said, you don't owe me anything. This is a gift from the people of Palestine to you. Don't forget us when you go. That's how I got my first Qur'an, as a gift from the people of Palestine for a stranger who came in peace. Subhanallah, may Allah reward them all for their patience and for all they teach us about our deen. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.